The June LSAT just happened. Now we're looking ahead towards, of course, July and the fall LSATs as well. What to do going forward. For July, you've got about 6 weeks. And for September, you've got about 16 weeks. So a good amount of time for each one. Of course, if you've already been studying for June, you're not starting from scratch. So to study for 6 weeks more for July, you really just want to kind of brush up on your weak areas and take more full-length timed exams. I would recommend focusing on maybe 1 or 2 timed exams per week, nothing more than that, along with excruciatingly detailed review of everything you get wrong and everything you have difficulty with. Of course, keep in mind that if you're down to 2 choices and you guess and get it right, you just got lucky. It could have very easily gone the other way next time around, so review those in depth as well. Now, for those of you taking it in the fall, perhaps in September, 16 weeks away, you've got enough time to make pretty much anything happen, even if you're starting from scratch. I recommend, of course, taking a minimum of 3 months to study, but ideally 5 to 6 months or more to reach your fullest potential. It's kind of funny, those of you in college will certainly appreciate this, that you spend your entire undergraduate career, maybe 3, 4, 5 years to earn your undergraduate GPA, but your LSAT score happens in a single day, or maybe 2 or 3 days if you retake it. But the LSAT score weighs more heavily in the admission process than your GPA does. So it really is worth taking the time to invest yourself in the study process. I recommend a 5-pronged approach to LSAT prep. I call it the laser focus approach, and it involves learning first, building the foundation, doing simply reviewing LSAT textbooks, reviewing foundational lectures and videos just to get the basics down. That's learning, phase 1. Phase 2 is accuracy, doing questions untimed by type to build your foundation. Give yourself a chance to do it slow and thoroughly to really understand the problems before you introduce timing. So accuracy was phase 2. Phase 3 is sections, doing individual, full-length, timed 35-minute sections. So 1 entire game section, 1 entire reading comp section, 1 entire logical reasoning section, nothing more than that, just the 4 games in a set or the 4 passages in a set and so on, just to get a sense of your rhythm as you work through the section. You might want to do games questions in a certain order or logical reasoning in a certain order. For logical reasoning, I'll often skip a few and come back to them later, but whatever works for you. Next is the exams portion, phase 4, doing full-length 5-section timed exams with the time constraint of 35 minutes each or more if you have accommodations, but 3 sections back-to-back, no break, then 2 more back-to-back after a short 10-15 minute break. So 3 back-to-back, break, 2 back-to-back. The writing sample going forward is going to be from home or wherever you want to do it. It will not be at the test center, but the endurance of doing 5 sections in one sitting is a lot. It's something to get used to. It's an entirely separate phase of prep for this reason. Then the final phase, phase 5, is the review process. Engaging in super detailed review of everything you get wrong and have difficulty with, as I discussed previously, extremely important. Now, again, July LSAT, 6 weeks away, just a timed exam or 2 per week, plus brushing up on weak areas, whatever it may be, drilling questions by type, doing individual passages on topics that give you trouble or certain logic games questions that give you trouble. It'll be different for everybody, but for the fall LSATs, you can pretty much treat it as if you're starting your LSAT prep from the beginning or close to it. Take it slow and steady. You could work through pretty much everything from exam 52 to present if you wanted to. Give yourself all the time that you need. Somebody asked about how much time to spend per week if you're going for September. I do recommend ideally 20 to 25 hours per week, but of course it'll vary based on your situation. So those of you who are working or are taking summer classes, you're in school, maybe you want to do 2 to 3 hours a few days a week, and then 5 to 6 hours per day on the weekends. As for how you carve that out, maybe if you're working, an hour before work, an hour during lunch, and an hour after work. But do those hours while you're still in your work environment or close to it. Once you get home, or if you're at home and you're in your PJs, it's too easy to get distracted by other things. So I would strongly suggest that you study at work or nearby while you're still in your work outfit and you haven't yet gone home. If you are in the fortunate position to be able to study full time, or at least you can study for full days on the weekends, then I would recommend, again, no more than 5 to 6 hours in a given day. Maybe you do 3 hours before lunch, then 3 more hours after lunch, and you still have time to do all those other life things like sleep, diet, exercise, and mindfulness, meditation, relaxation of some sort. Extremely important. The LSAT really does require giving it your all. There is no reason at all to ever burn the candle at both ends or to just study for 10 hours in one day. That's a recipe for burnout and to be avoided at all costs. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and it really is true that slow and steady wins the race in this case. The LSAT is not a test of memorization, it's a test of pattern recognition, and so for that reason, you can't cram it all in one day, and you're also not going to forget it all in one day. So if you're going away this summer on vacation or you're taking a week off for whatever reason, don't worry about it. Enjoy your time off, come back to it fresh, and ready to dive in once again. Well, anyway, this has been a lot of fun, and I appreciate all of you staying engaged with me throughout this study journey, this LSAT prep process. I hope that you all keep in touch. Please feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.